Hello, welcome back. Today, yet another round in the Blue Note Classics series. Two outstanding titles in my opinion. Great stuff, surprisingly great stuff in my opinion. And today we talk about Big John Patton, Oh Baby. And we talk about Stanley Turrentine, Common Touch. Both arrived last Friday. I went through them and want to give you my opinion. And yeah, let's start with Big John Patton and Oh Baby. We're talking about an album that came out in 1965. And we have Blue Mitchell on the trumpet, Harold Vick on tenor sax, Grant Green on guitar, John Patton on the organ, and Ben Dixon on drums. This is for sure a classic Blue Note title. John Patton as a master on the organ, his play is wow. And I think the main figure of influence, the big mentor of John Patton has been Lou Donaldson, who has worked with for 4 years. His other counterpart, in a way, friend, I think, is Grant Green, who is also here on this album at the guitar. And I think this is the fourth album as a leader for Blue Note. I think all his albums where he has been a leader has been on Blue Note. Correct me here in that case if I'm wrong. And this album became extremely important in the late 80s for the acid jazz scene. Heavy influential album. Great one. Beautiful addition to the classic series, although of course it also could have been a tone poet, and also with these two I don't see a certain logic why this, for example, is not a tone poet, it's a classic series. I don't see a logic. We just have to take it as it comes. So in this case they decided that this one gets into the classic series, which of course is fine. It's okay. There's, for me, maybe you have found a logic. I know when it has been out on Music Matters Jazz, of course it can't be a tone poet with the big Ausnahme, missed the word, with Blue Train, who has been in Music Matters Jazz and is now also a tone poet. Okay, here we have the usual package pressed over at Optimal, mastered by Kevin Gray. I got mine in a poly-lined inner sleeve. And I've read, and that was interesting, I've read over at Discogs when I added this record to my collection, that some of them didn't get it in a poly-lined inner sleeve. I've read that in the comments there, so I'm just talking about what I've read. I have no personal experience, and they really had problems with their records. And I hope that's not true. But just want to state this, of course, if they put some into polylined and some into not polylined, this is a no-go in my opinion, if that is true. Big no-go, if that is really the fact. The work of Kevin Gray on this album, again, outstanding. This is an outstanding, good sounding album, lively, rich. It really, you know, this organ sound comes over so natural and beautiful. The overall atmosphere is so beautiful, transported through all this vinyl. it's a beauty. And if you consider the price of it, especially nowadays where vinyl really gets more and more expensive, this is, when it comes to the price value, this is a golden package. I mean, chapeau, great one, beautiful. If you are into this, kind of music, into this organ jazz, a must-have. Great one, beautiful one. The second one, nobody less than Stanley Turrentine, featuring Shirley Scott. Again, Shirley Scott on the organ, and Shirley Scott is Turrentine's wife. And I think this is a reunion after 4 years. Was it after Hustling? They did quite some albums together. I think this is the first time they played together after 4 years after Hustling. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. The original recording took place in 1968, and this is this transformational phase of Blue Note, where you get a lot of funk and soul influence into the record. Typical example of this music. We have Stanley Turrentine on the tenor sax and Shirley Scott, as I said, on the organ, but we also have Jimmy Ponder on guitar. We have Bob Crenshaw on Fender bass, Lee Morris on drums. Of course, recording Rudy Van Gelder. Same package, of course, nowadays, mastered Kevin Gray, pressed at optimal. And for this version alone, at least for me, this is worth the shelf place, worth the money, worth the interest. We get an interpretation of Blowing in the Wind, the Bob Dylan song. The second song on side one. Great one. I totally love this take, this bluesy, funky, soul-y, very different take of Blowing in the Wind. This is a killer. And yeah, also when it comes to the sound of this record, same here. It's outstanding. It's an outstanding, good sounding album on the same level as the Big John Patton. Two great releases. I think if you get non-warped or scratched up records, you can be very happy with them. You can do some things you can of course do better, but those are cosmetic in a way. I don't want to go into the jacket discussion again, but come on, the price is top, the whole series is top, and now again we have two beautiful editions inside this series. The next ones that are up are also very special ones. Can't wait for those. I think they come end of November or at the beginning of December, and I can do a comparison because both of those records I have as a Music Matters Jazz release, and this is of course again a bit more salt in the soup when I can add a comparison against the Music Matters Jazz. I always love to do those. This one I don't have any other pressings, so of course I can't do a comparison, but I'm quite sure they stand up pretty good. Great one. Okay, thank you for your time. See you on the next one. Bye.